Why was everyone so upset? It always seems that I like a movie way more when I have low or zero expectations for it. That was definitely the case with the long-awaited Jerry Seinfeld comedy, Unfrosted. Welcome to the Smoking Hot Nerds. It's long been stuff of legend that Jerry Seinfeld either had or was working on a joke about Pop-Tarts since 2013. Or 2020, or whatever a number of subreddits tell you. Regardless, the idea of the Pop-Tart movie was certainly bouncing around in the movie sphere for quite some time, and knowing that it was coming from the co-creator of the Seinfeld Chronicles made it all the more exciting. The movie starts with Seinfeld's character telling the story of the creation of the Pop-Tart to a young hobo who's apparently run away from home. It's a pretty weak way to start a movie and not at all original, but if you're gonna go for the ride, it's not the worst mode of transportation. The movie is linear as all get out, giving the audience a nice string of and-thens with an absolute who's who of comedy personalities and actors making cameos who are far too capable to be playing these odd characters with probably one day of shooting. But I know that's the fun of doing a movie like this. Hugh Grant as Tony the Tiger, Peter Dinklage, and Christian Slater as the Milkman kept the pace up, and surprisingly, the comedians you see very rarely without a mic in their hands all handled their roles incredibly well. Jim Gaffigan is in the movie a lot, but his voice/accent reminded me of high school theater, so that could be grating at times. Somehow all of the child actors were absolutely fantastic, which is always a relief. Production and set design and the cinematography look really great and era appropriate, but that's what happens when you hire Bill Pope, director of photography of the Matrix films, Men in Black, Baby Driver, and back-to-back Marvel films to film your little comedy. Definitely overkill, but it paid off. Overall, Unfrosted probably overdid it with the quick gags to show how things were invented and changed. They were silly ways to bring in pop culture references as if they were just off the cuff and out of the brain. It's goofy, but again, don't take this thing too seriously. Tony the Tiger's "They're great" was an accidental discovery thanks to Hugh Grant's accent, changing Fruit Loops to F-R-O-O-T, and it has a certain tang to it when talking about tang, were funny enough and kept the movie going, but at times felt real cheap. The gag was even used to accidentally name the subject of the movie, so by that point it really felt overdone. Oh, and Harold von Braunhut, played by Thomas Lennon, didn't have a German accent. He was born in Tennessee, but he was probably a Nazi. But let's talk about the real failure in this film, and it was at the end with the coup or the mascot strike and insurrection. Unfrosted leaned heavily into the 60s look, the slang, everything about it, and to its credit stayed in world. But then the allegory of the Jan 6 situation, complete with a horn-headed Tony the Tiger, was an unfortunate move to bring some modern commentary to the piece and kind of pulls you out of the movie and already feels dated. It was the opposite of what I thought was the best part of this movie, the meeting with Don Draper and Ronald Sterling. Now, I mean, it was really fun, not particularly hilarious, but a great way to bring a beloved property back from retirement, and for the most part, era appropriate. It was a very, very silly movie, and I actually understand why so many people hated it, but it's a movie about freaking Pop-Tarts and cereal. So to be fair, there just aren't a lot of movies like this coming out right now. Sure, you've got shows like I Think You Should Leave, but since the mid-2000s, we really haven't seen a feature film go for broke quite like this did and go for a joke every 3 seconds. There wasn't a lot of heart or genuine emotion, and a laugh-a-minute approach can definitely be exhausting. However, nowadays it seems like every movie has to say something and be important in one way or another. So to me, it was refreshing to watch a movie with no subtext, just a bunch of comics goofing off. And if you go into it without expectation and ready to just take a ride, Unfrosted can be a very entertaining hour and a half. And when a movie comes along that doesn't take itself too seriously, it would be a good idea for us to do the same.